am Vinodini.
And I'm Kavita.
And we are here to Kupshup.
Keeping up with parenting.
Today we have two incredible women who are redefining modern motherhood, challenging norms, prioritizing mental wellness, and embracing the beauty of imperfection. First, we have Gayatri Prakash, writer, podcaster, and the voice behind Brewing Reflections. A mother of three, she shares her experiences with vulnerability and warmth, reminding us that life is not about perfection, but about connection. Here we have Pooja Srinivas Raja, entrepreneur, mental health advocate, and founder of the Love Hope Company, a platform dedicated to making mental wellness accessible to everybody. As a single parent, she's rewriting the rules of parenting with grit, grace, and unwavering commitment to raising emotionally aware children. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you so much for having us.
So let's talk about motherhood. We're going to raise the curtain on motherhood. Society paints this picture of glowing moms, angelic babies, and life feeling like a Johnson's baby ad. But let's be real. We all know motherhood is not just that. It's sticky floors, sleepless nights, and asking yourself if biscuits can be a meal. So, what is one thing about motherhood and mental health that you think we don't talk about enough? We'll start with Pooja.
I think mental health for motherhood itself is not spoken about. Like, I don't think, not just mental health as a whole, right?
That's
like
true.
after being pregnant or after having a child, I don't think the focus on the mother is as much as what we give for the newborn child, right? As simple as just asking her if does she feel hungry? Has she eaten enough? Does she want to rest? No one talks about it. It's always about, have you fed the child? Did the child sleep? Is there rashes and ABC, like whatever our questions, right? So I think the focus on health for a mother is extremely important, because a happy child is happy only if there's a happy mother. No matter how many ever support system you have, you can have 10 nannies, you can have their entire family to be there, but if the mother is not emotionally, mentally, physically there for the child, it will have an impact on the child, right? I think there's also the fact of mother guilt coming in, right? When you're a new
Absolutely.
mother, it's always like, okay, I need to be there for my child. I need to do this. I have done that, right? I had my family to support me, but it's always like, okay, it's my child, so I need to be the one to do it. And you obviously end up feeling like sleep deprived, and it takes a huge toll, and that's when postpartum depression kicks in. So might as well, like, take the step even before you get to a dark space. So I think more focus on health is very, very important. So motherhood and mental health, it's still not together. It's still like two separate things that we think about. But I think it's high time we all start focusing on it as well.
Got it. Gayatri, how about you? What do you think one thing that we don't speak about enough when it comes to
I
motherhood?
think she's covered quite a bit. I think to also create a very positive environment for any parent, both mother and father, I would say is very, very important, by the family, by the friends, because I think there's so much of understanding that is required when you enter that parenting. There are so many things that get cut off, and you're made to feel that you're not a part of so many things, right?
That's true.
So these are things also I feel has to become a part of our talk. I think, like she said, within the home, outside of the home, I think people should start feeling the need to be more inclusive when it comes to the idea of not being available. So I think that's something that I learned through my journey as a parent, where some days I felt really left out, but then it took a lot of work for me to think that, okay, I think this is how it's going to be, but it's okay. But that's
It's fine.
But it's okay. It's fine. Took a long time for me to get to, because
I'm
I
sure-
felt I was not doing enough. I was not being there.
I'm sure in your journey from, say, when you had your first child to when you had your third child, there would have been a lot of growth that you have had, right? From wanting to be there for everything while still having a child, to saying, this is fine, I can skip this is the phase of life I am in.
Yeah, in fact, that word FOMO, right? We all keep talking about
Yeah.
so much. It was high, like it was peak, between the three children. And with social media, I feel like it takes a toll on you, really.
It
I've
does.
gone through those phases many times. And I feel like that's something people have to be, I don't know what they can do socially, but, they can just be more understanding is what I feel.
I agree. And if you're doing, having something's, a party or an event, if you have a feeding mother, you can make sure that they're comfortable. The space is conducive to having a child over.
Absolutely.
If you
And in
want to make
fact,
it
even
inclusive.
in organizations, if mothers can have, more leverage to take, maternity leave, which is still not very prevalent in a lot of organizations.
That's true.
Maybe they give about 3 months, but is 3 months enough to leave a little baby at home?
For an
Where do we
entire
have
day.
creches today? We have very few.
That's true.
Are they a good standard? Do they have good, people taking care of the children? There is so much more to do as a society.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So when you said you feel left out,
Yes.
what do you mean by that? What kind of a disconnect did you have?
For me, I think it was more intellectually, professionally, because at that point, when I delivered my first child when I was 28, I think that's like a career, I won't say peak, but a good place to start your career. Everybody was marching towards something, but I was at home taking care of a child. I didn't think that taking care of a child was good enough.
That's true.
And it took me a long time to understand that this is very important too. You're bringing up the next generation of children. You're doing so much more for the society, but it took me a long time to understand and appreciate that.
But that's also because of the society that we are in, where, what you're doing, I'm just at home. It's that just which
Exactly.
we are conditioned to think of it as a just.
And this narrative changed for me, and then I spoke to 2-3 women who just delivered, and they were at home taking care of the children. What do? I'm at home. I'm just at home doing nothing. I'm at home, doing house. I said, that's a huge thing to do. Why are you undermining yourself? You have to be efficient to be a homemaker. You can't just be, doing nothing. That's not what a homemaker is, right? They do so much.
Yeah.
It's the hardest job I've had. I've worked in a corporate company. I've done my own thing. The hardest role I've had is being a homemaker, because there is no off button there also. You don't get to turn off. You're
Absolutely.
always present. You're always there. I leave the house today, I can not think of what is happening at home for 4 hours, and that is a blessing.
Exactly.
But there is no switching off in that
No
role.
way. In fact, people, they tell me that, it's one of the most difficult things to do, because during the day when the children are in school, you're doing all the housework. And then when they come, you have to be still available.
Yeah.
Right? Mentally, physically, to do things. The husband comes home a little later, has some, so many demands. This has to be done. Dinner has to be on the table. It's like round the clock. Then you wake up in the morning again and then do the same routine again and again, day after day. I think we need to appreciate homemakers.
Our mums.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's not the easiest of roles.
Yeah.
So, Pooja, if you had to describe motherhood in just 3 words, what would it be? It's a lot in just 3 words, but
Yeah.
what would it be?
I think I would say it requires a lot of patience, a lot of unlearning, and a lot of acceptance. Because every day, right, it's a whole new challenge. No matter how many of our books we read about motherhood, how many of our podcasts we listen, how many stories, your journey is very unique.
Yeah.
We might feel like we are well read and we might feel like, okay, I'm equipped to do this, I'm on for it. But then when it actually is happening, it freaks out. It's not an easy journey at all. So knowing that it's going to be a long journey, and once you're a mother, you're always a mother. There is no like you
There's
guys
no
said,
going back from
there's
it,
no
no?
going back,
Yeah.
right? No matter however old your child is, you are a mother and they need you. I think it's also a lot of resilience.
That's
It
true.
is not an easy journey at all. And like I said, no matter how many help you have, whatever you do, whether you're a homemaker, whether you are a professional, whether you're doing a business, everything has its own set of challenges. So I think it's a lot of self-work, a lot of self-awareness, and it is a crazy journey, to be very honest. Right?
Yeah, it's not for everybody as well. I think that's also
Yeah.
something that needs to be spoken of. Just because you're a woman, you don't have to be a mother.
Yeah.
And you
And
can
somewhere
own
we're
that.
conditioned to believe that we cannot make mistakes.
That's
right?
true.
You need to have everything sorted out, because if you miss something, it's going to affect ABCD in your
Yeah.
family. It's not just you. So we have that fear to go do something out of our comfort zone. So which is why I say that, we are not what our previous generation are, but we think 100 times before we do something. We don't have that, not many of us at least, to directly just jump into and do something, because we constantly think about so many other factors, as simple as, like you said, the 4 hours that you're here doing
Yeah.
this. Your mind is always there, making sure if everything
Absolutely.
is on place, right? But that's a whole another ball game altogether. I think it takes a lot of strength
Yeah.
to do this as well, right?
Right, and we jump into it. I feel like our society, especially, a woman has to get married, there is no mental preparation. There is a lot of physical preparation to be a mother. There is a lot of preparation in taking care of the woman while she becomes a mother. But after that, they're like, okay, you can jump off a cliff and it's okay,
all
it's
about the
fine.
baby now.
There is no
Yeah.
preparation for the journey itself. And I feel there's so much that needs to be done for a person to do some engineering work. There's 4 years of preparation, but to be a mother, there is none. And I think that conversation also needs to start happening and
I
start
think it's
changing.
because sacrifice is very glorified
I
in
know.
society. Sacrifice by women is very glorified. So they never prep you. It's like whatever you do,
That's your
it's considered
duty.
as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
And it's over glorified. If you're a mother, if you're a woman, sacrifice, do things for your family
That's
because you need to do it. Otherwise, you can't fit into the ideal society check boxes, right?
Yeah.
So I
But
think
again,
that is
how
an
much
easy
about-
way of not preparing anyone to.
No, how much ever you prepare also, each one's story is very different
Very
and
different.
unique. What you go through in your body and your mind is
Very
very
different.
different for each person.
But again, I think the basic idea of what it entails is unknown. It's an
that's
unknown
true.
space altogether. In fact, when you were asking, the three words that come to your mind when you say motherhood, I was thinking to myself, "Oh, what would I think of? There is love, unconditional love, that's one thing. And, it is very operational also in nature,
is.
right? It's extremely operational, it's also emotional. So it's like running a business, but just a business that you can never get out of. There is no checking out, like she said, these are things you have to do. And I feel like for women in general, not just mothers, but even grandmothers,
Yeah.
there is a pressure on them to be available.
Yeah.
So, what other work do you have? I've heard this so many times with so many grandmothers saying, what other work? The people ask me, what other work do I have? I'm like, you have a life, go enjoy. That's
And
your
you've
work.
done
You've done your part.
You've
You've
done
done
it.
your part, go enjoy life now. Of course, be with children, but you also go enjoy your life. So, is this cycle going to go on and on and on?
I think for a woman, it somewhere feels like it never ends. The expectations that they drop on you never ends because you're a woman.
Yeah.
And the thought process of, hey, like you said, sacrifice is glorified, selflessness is glorified. I think selfishness should be glorified.
Yeah.
Self-care should be glorified. It's not selfishness,
yeah.
it's self-care, self-preservation. All of that should be glorified. And I think that shift, at least the conversation is happening.
Right.
10 years ago, even that wasn't there.
Yeah. And I think people are also trying to find their balance so beautifully. Of course,
True.
everybody's scenario is so different. We are all just trying to balance everything out. You could be from a nuclear family, you could be from a joint family. Scenario is so different. So I think finding that sort of a balance is so important. When I said operational, from packing a snack to putting them in a bus or, having the driver go drop off, pick off. There are so many
Yeah.
things you have to keep doing, right?
Coordinating
And then you-
dictations.
Exactly.
This, that,
And then come
plates.
back homework. Oh my god.
So you're constantly, your
And you're
mind
doing
is
fine, yes.
churning.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
to do next.
Yeah.
So before we, let's go back a little bit in time. And before you became a mom, right? What kind of a parent did you think you will be? I'm sure we all
Oh
had
God, I
thoughts
don't
of
want
it.
to say
What
this
do you think?
I don't
What
want
do
to
you
say
think
it on
you will be?
camera because one of my closest friends, she knows, she was like, I'm scared if you have a child, what will you do? I'll be like, I think I'll hang the child upside down. It will trouble me. And then she called me and it's like, you have 3 children? I can't believe it. I said, I have not hung any of them upside down yet. So that was the kind of parent that I thought I was. I don't know. I mean, I'm slightly strict, but yeah, I think that's what I thought I,
I did
would
not
be.
expect that
is
answer
not
at all.
what I thought
No,
of.
I have a very short fuse. So I
That
think
was.
That's why you have
That's
2
it.
boys now.
So tell me, Pooja, what did you think? What kind of a parent did you think you would be?
So to be very honest, my mom was very strict when I was
Okay.
very young, like extremely strict, right? So all I wanted to be as a mother was not be her. Whatever my mom was doing, I was like, I don't want to be her. If ever I have a child, I'm going to be very kind to her, very sweet to her, not beat her up, give her chocolates, give her whatever she wants. But then when life happens, now I understand why she did that and why it worked out and how we turned out to be, right?
Yeah.
And also, I have like 3 siblings. So I think from a very young age, I was kind of playing the role of a parent to
Yeah,
be
you
there.
were always a
and-
mom figure. for them?
Kind
maybe?
of. I
No?
mean, they would disagree, but then I say I was
Nice.
always protective of my siblings, but then I didn't know how to express it. So if at all my sisters had a boyfriend, I used to be very protective and go tell my mom, saying that, hey, she's talking to someone.
Clearly a mother figure.
This mother figure I'd be slightly wary of.
And today my 6.5-year-old daughter comes and talks to me about crush, boyfriend, girlfriend, and my heart is just like, oh my
And your
god.
hands are tied, you can't do anything,
Can't do
you can't
anything.
say anything, you can only go.
So what do you say?
Because I don't want to be my mother. I'm feeling okay. I don't want to hit her. I don't want to shout at her. I'm just trying to listen, and it's all because of YouTube. Like the way the understanding that they have is like a boy and a girl if they like each other. It's boyfriend girlfriend. So
Yeah.
I'm like, what is your definition of like? That was like scary because she was blushing when she was talking to me about
Oh,
this.
so cute.
No, it's not. It was
Yeah,
just
no,
like
no.
I was
No,
like,
in fact, somebody told me only yesterday that somebody came and told Yug, my first son, that she has a crush on him. I was like, oh, what did he say? What did he say? You know, on the inside I'm palpitating because I don't know what he was. Then apparently he just turned around and stared at her and turned away. I was like,
Good response.
please continue. Now I can't do it. Please continue.
So the next section is about career, right? Let's talk about being present as a parent, but also managing kids' career and not losing ourselves and our minds in the process. How do you do it?
I lose my mind.
Yeah? On a regular basis, no?
Very frequently because no matter what I do, I always feel like I'm not doing enough. And I feel like I'm not present anywhere. I don't feel I'm 100% present at work. I don't feel I'm 100% present with my daughter nor with my friends. I always feel like I'm not doing enough. And yeah, I mean, that's the honest answer I feel. I don't think I've ever felt like, no matter how better I plan my day, however I plan my week, saying, okay, weekends are for my child, and then, one of the Friday nights for my friends, and the other days at work. I sit at work, if she calls me, I need to pick the call up. And then she falls sick. If she falls sick, the entire world stops. for me.
Everything
Everything,
goes for
important
reasons.
meetings, investors, whoever it is, they're on pause. And then they come back saying that you need to find a co-founder because everything can stop when you're not there. But again, finding a co-founder is like having a marriage for your business. You need to find the
That's
right
true.
person
Right,
for
That's
it.
true.
So it is a huge deal, and I don't think I've found a balance. And I look up to a lot of women who do it, and being closely associated with a lot of women entrepreneurs, I don't think anyone has
Has found a balance.
found a
That's-
balance in this.
that's
I
maybe
think,
that is the honest
very-
answer.
Yeah, maybe that is what it is.
It is, yeah.
We shouldn't be looking for that perfect balance.
No, in
we
fact,
just
I think
take
again
it as
it comes
it
from
comes.
the space that where we feel like we need to do everything as a mother. I don't think I'm still open to delegating a lot of things.
Yeah.
No matter what 10 other people do to support my child, I'm still like questioning the 10 other people, did you do this, did you do that? And questioning myself that did I make the right choices of people to take care of her?
What do you do, Gayatri? How do you try to have it all? We all try to have it all.
From the beginning, I think I've always been very driven to do something or the other. I've never stopped doing things, possibly for 3 months, 4 months in between. But, it was a learning curve for me to understand myself through this because I not found my footing for a very long time. I think for almost 5 years, 5.5 years, I was in and out of work at least 4 times. And I'd started businesses and shut them like it was, like, I don't know how you call it, like pop-up businesses,
Yeah.
where it could have lasted longer. But, I realized that I had to find some sort of, it may not be 100% balance in some sense. In fact, 2-3 people that were on my podcast told me that, one day you have an 80 in the house, you have 20 at work, which I completely agree. I think it was a beautiful definition of what you only have 100. You can only give so much here and there. But I also realized one key thing is that, in no demeaning way, that you develop a buffalo skin, right? You have to start silencing the voices from the outside, which was determining a lot of things for me. Oh, you have time. Why are you not doing this? You can do it. You can take it up. I didn't have the mental capacity or the space at that point. So, to value that for myself was huge. And it took me a long time to understand that I have to set my own rules, no matter who tells me what. That's why I said buffalo skin, because to silence the voices that are coming from outside is very, very important. Your balance is yours to decide where you want to put that 80, 50 or 20. But you have to come to the understanding that you will make that decision and nobody needs to make that decision for you. Of course, guilt comes in. There is absolutely no doubt there. So many days I felt like, I've not done this, I've not done that. But then I've come to a space where I feel it's okay, it's fine, this is how it's going to be. Now you either be okay with that, or you go, rattling in your brain. That's a decision you will have to take. I think that's how I have grown as a person today, and I'm proud of that person.
So you just spoke about what went in your head and how to drown out those voices inside and outside. So which was that defining aha moment that you had, which made you realize that, hey, I'm not just a mother, I need to be doing something for myself? And how did the process evolve to lead you to this brewing reflections?
So I think I was draining myself out with the idea that I can only do this or that about 2 years back. I think 1.5 years back, to be precise. And then on New Year's, right, I told myself, let me start somewhere. Because I know that I have passion for writing. Let me start somewhere. And podcasting was just up and coming in, our space at that point. I said, okay, let me put my thoughts out and let me see what the response is, because validation is very important, especially when you're starting something out, right? I was very scared, to be honest, to put myself out there, but then I told myself, no, I'll just start. Let me do, because there's something telling me that I have to be doing something. That's why I'm constantly doing something and getting out of it also constantly, right? On New Year's Day, I posted something and I got so many messages from very, very genuine people saying, I think you should do it. You should do it. I said, okay, let me push myself a little bit more. And I think the journey of finding inspiration from people like that, one of them is sitting right here, kept pushing me. And, the idea of brewing inspirations came at that point. Said, I'm feeling so inspired by the people around me, my first circle, which includes Pooja herself. But not many people have the access to it, right? If me, a person who she knows, a person who has the best family in the world, hands down I can tell you, the best in-laws, the best husband, the best parents, if I had to go through something like this right after my daughter, what would other people with less support be feeling on the inside? And how do they push themselves? I think that moment was when I realized this is my call and I have to put my effort into this. I think that was my aha moment. Is that what you said? Yeah.
Lovely. And how about you, Pooja?
For me, I think it was a lot of collective incidences that was happening in my life where I felt like I was forcefully put inside a box where I shouldn't be feeling like I'm having a voice. To a point where I think it was right after my separation, and she knows how broken I was. I think I was more focused on always being the good person, right? To being the good daughter, the good wife, the good mother, like wanting to be perfect. I lost myself in the journey. And I got to a point when I felt lost. I understood no one's standing by me. The efforts that I've made for people around are not with me anymore. I was just tired of that, and I had my daughter, so I was just like, okay, I need to do something where I need to rewrite whatever life I want to build, and I don't want to do it, or I don't want anyone to support me or wait for someone to support me, but just like start somewhere. I went to a lot of personal roller coaster in between to understand what is it that I want to give back, what is it that I want to do that would not just, it's not just about money. Yes, of course it is a business. Again, I'm not saying it's a non-profit. Expenses or experiences that we want to create. But this personal journey was very transformative, where I just felt like the moment I stopped listening to what the society wanted from, I started attracting a lot of beautiful things in life, the right kind of friendships. Like, I'm hardly in touch with anyone in my school and college. I think my entire life changed. The kind of opportunities, the kind of people, the kind of experience was so beautiful. I think there was a good 2 years where I was traveling a lot. I used to do a lot of solo travels to north of India. I don't know Hindi, but chumma pete, I'll go there. And I understood how beautiful life was without any of the materialistic things that we are running behind. It is just so beautiful in our own country. So I wanted to bring those experiences. I want to just let people know that life is so much beautiful than whatever we are running behind. It's not as bad as what we think, right? So that is how Love Hope started. I wanted to prove my success by building something that is going to help other people in a very graceful and with a lot of kindness, because life could also be lived with a lot of kindness for yourself, or kindness with people around you, because unfortunately it's become a luxury now.
Yeah, that's true. One thing I find very similar in both your journeys is in both your transformational journeys is how you've sort of learned to not listen to the voices around you and to more to listen to the voice that's within you, because otherwise you wouldn't be doing what each of you are doing, right?
Absolutely.
Either Brewing Reflections or the Love Hope Company. Such different thoughts and such very innovative things that you're doing stems from listening to your own voice, which I think a lot of mums need to start doing, listening to themselves more than what everybody around them is asking them.
But then again, sometimes you have a very stable background and you said you're thankful for it, and you had a not so stable background. Sometimes it takes those, non-stable moments to bring out the best in you, for you to start thinking differently. Probably otherwise you'd have ended up in your father's business and not taken these treks around the world, not seen the world around you. You'd have been, in a closed environment where you don't see the beauty of things. But sometimes it takes these kind of experiences to bring out the best.
Completely agree with
So
Yeah, and I think her journey has been phenomenal in that sense. I've learned so much from her, in the last 4 years or 5 years of knowing each other. And it's tremendous. In fact, when you said stable family, when you're in a stable family, what happens is even the smallest of change can really bug you. It can really make things so
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, in fact, the first time I think, going a little bit off script, but when I delivered my son, I could not feed him. Unfortunately, I had milk, but I just could not technically feed him. That shook all of us up because we didn't know how to react to that, right? And we were like, what the hell was happening? I went through hell. I'm like, why is my son not attaching to me? And the whole idea of a breast pump, it was brand new. Nobody knew. Using a bottle for a newborn baby. I came back home. I cried to my husband. I said, get me a damn pump. I don't want anybody's opinion. Get me a damn pump. That's all. I will only bottle feed my child, but get me a damn pump. But that took me a lot of time to get to, right? Because you're trying to break. So smaller things can really bug you even in a wonderfully stable family.
yeah.
And
But
that
also
is
to have a stable family, it's not easy. I think one thing that I've realized with the kind of friendships I made after my separation, a lot of, mostly Amulya's parents, friends' parents, right? People who have been in marriages for the longest time. One thing that I've really understood, it's a collective effort. It can't just be one person putting in a lot of effort
No,
and
it
the other person
never
not
works like
reciprocating.
that. Not for this generation.
Exactly. No, even for like earlier generations, I think like knowing where to draw a line, knowing where to be there for each other. We all make mistakes. No one is like perfect in a family or any relationship. But how do you know you let go of few things? How do you still be there for your partner? What is that love factor that holds not just the partners but the entire family together? Like her family is like, till date I keep telling her, this is something that I've never seen in it, especially in an Indian family setup.
Yeah.
This is, touch wood, but not a rare, not a common scene that her in-laws, her parents, her husband, I've known them for the longest time. So I have personally understood, I had a lot of guilt when I separated because I didn't know if this was the right decision, because having a child, it's always best when both parents are together. But then having friends like them and few other people who've been in the longest, long time marriages or relationships, I understood that it's a lot of effort and it should be collective. It can't just be one person. It has to be reciprocated. Sometimes we go off, our
Different
path
paths.
with our own journey. It could be for our health. It could be whatever we are going through in our head. But how do we still hold on to each other and still want to choosing to be with each other, right? That's a huge decision and it takes a lot of work and commitment. So I don't think even having a stable family is also easy. It's
very
a lot of
difficult.
work.
In
It's a
fact,
lot.
after I delivered my daughter a little earlier than expected, I was so underprepared. I came back home and it was my birthday 4 days after. They're calling me down to cut cake. I'm weeping in the room, not realizing why I was weeping. And my husband saw me, he was like, what's happening? He didn't understand because 2 pregnancies were okay.
Yeah.
Third pregnancy, out of the blue, I'm having these feelings. I could not I didn't know what was affecting me. I was so I was crying. And I went down with a red face to cut my birthday cake. And I said, okay, I just want to go up again.
Yeah.
So I went and shut myself. It took me almost 2 to 3 weeks to figure that it was because I was underprepared is why I was having such feelings. And at that point, the community you have, the friends you have, they come together like nobody's business. And I feel like friendships are so important. Mother friends are so important at that point.
Totally. We were actually going to
Going
talk
to-
about
yeah.
friendships later, but since we're at that topic, how has friendship changed for you from when you were before being a mom to now? Has it changed? Has the dynamic changed?
For me, I feel like I reconnected with a lot of my friends from school and college after we had children. Like we were out of touch for a long time, and I found my closest friends either during my pregnancies or after I've had a child. Like I have about 4 extremely close friends. One of them is sitting right here. So Pooja and I connected 5 years back. I'm just giving you an example. 5 years back, it was right after COVID. You remember, ma'am, those
Yes.
online classes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Children wouldn't sit. We were like, oh my god, when is this going to end?
That's how
Right.
you became
And
friends.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I left a
That's
message
class.
on the group
Oh.
saying, we had a parent group. So I left a message on, guys, really, if somebody is interested to bring the kids for a play date, please come. Exactly 5 people messaged, and those 5 people are pretty close. I mean, we know each other's family. We over the next year we became pretty close in that sense, and some friendships out of that stood out really beautifully well. And like that, I feel like there is so much empathy when mothers become friends, because somewhere some thread kind of connects.
You're sailing the same boat,
Yeah.
basically, right?
Exactly. You're sailing a very, very similar boat. May not be the exact same, but when you need them or when they need you, you're always around, because you know that that support is really necessary and required at that point.
How much does your tribe of women matter to you now? How much do they build you up, support you? What do you have to say about your
I'm very
friendships now?
proud to say this, but I'm also very scared to say this, that that's 90% of my life. That's my tribe. My tribe is 90%. Because
Wow.
they determine the way I look at myself. I don't know if I should be doing that, but I feel proud to be doing that also, because without them, I don't think I'll be what I am today. In the last 6 years, I've become somebody, and that's because of them. I will just openly tell you, it's because of them.
How lovely.
And
No, it's-
that includes my mother-in-law, my mother, my friends, my sisters-in-law, all of them. Those are the women I'm talking about. It's just not friends or, somebody sitting abroad. No, it's, or, something else. It's absolutely them. They are my tribe. These women are my tribe.
And how the conversation when it comes to mother-in-laws have also changed, right? From, especially in an Indian society, a few decades ago, when they were only seen as, I want to say in a slightly negative way, to mother-in-laws becoming a part of your tribe, to being somebody
Oh, yes.
you can fall back on. I think that's a beautiful journey
I think
we've
that's
had.
because our generations have stopped watching television serials.
Yeah,
Indian
it's
Very
television
Yeah.
true.
serials.
That's
Yes.
true.
That's
So
the only
true.
reason, because the expectations they have at an ideal mother-in-law and ideal daughter-in-law had a huge influence on what was showed in serials. Past 10 years, the conversation has changed, and I do observe a lot of people having a very positive outlook on the daughter-in-laws, mother-in-laws. They know their boundaries, they understand both each other's space,
Yeah.
and also sons finding right balance
Yeah.
between the mothers and because they also play a huge role in it, right?
I have to tell you, I kept wondering about why there were a lot of parents bringing their very young children to
Yeah.
the theater.
Yeah, I
I
still
I
don't
used to get
understand.
so angry and upset. Then I think about a month back, I went to watch a film with my husband, night show. It's like, oh, maybe they don't have a place to leave the
don't.
child. They
Yeah.
want to come out. I felt so. That time I was sympathizing. I was like, I feel so bad that I have that comfort today of leaving my child, but they don't have a place to do
They
it.
don't have that choice. I've
Yeah.
realized that, and these kids they are screaming, they are wailing, and it's gore and horror in front of them
Exactly.
sometimes. These children are, but we all need that space sometimes.
And you need
We
that
have
break
to-
also, no? To go with the
Yeah.
husband somewhere, eat popcorn. I
Somewhere.
still love going to the theatre. Man, if
Yeah.
I didn't have the backup that I have, I would have probably done that as well. Out
Yeah.
of frustration that I don't want to sit in front of the TV and watch another movie.
The
right?
whole day and all weekends, the weeks,
Exactly.
the weekends, they all merge into one
Exactly.
Yeah.
and just become.
No, but then that's okay when they're very young. I mean, there are
Yeah, of
other
course.
Yeah.
other ways we can say how it's not okay for their
Absolutely.
the sound
Yeah,
and
yeah,
all
yeah.
that. But as they grow older, when they are taking it in, you don't want the same mistakes again. You don't
Yeah,
want them looking at
absolutely.
the same screen where the same kind of content is happening.
Yeah.
You want them to think differently, have different experiences.
Absolutely,
So
there's
you
no
need to
doubt.
sit and say, what do I want them to watch?
Right.
What do I want them to imbibe?
Exactly.
So at that point, you say, no, I don't want them to see these
And
content.
the amount of research we do when it comes to education is equal amounts to what we do as research to put out like a TV show for them to watch today,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
One day there's Peppa Pig that is amazing, the next day there's study that's saying that it's not.
Yeah.
The amount of research, the amount of changes we have to make in that is also
It's
enormous.
evolving and
Yeah.
yeah. Talk about your tribe a little bit before we move on, Pooja. Tell me about.
So I feel the friends I've made after I became a mother is more about authenticity. Like I think it was people where I could be myself, which I never got an opportunity before that, right? Because you always want to fit in, you want to be cool, you want to hang out. It's not about you, it's about just fitting into a group of people and wanting to have friends because again it's cool to have like 4-5 people hanging out. I think it's more about the values, it's more about understanding, like she said, understanding myself and being very authentic. Like because with the mothers, you can actually go talk about anything and everything, right?
That's true.
Whatever failures, whatever mistakes you've done, anything with the child, we can just be authentic. How many of us have like friends outside that is a big question mark. So I think that way I'm truly blessed, and I was very picky about the people I was becoming close with because I'm the youngest in all the group. I was a mother when I was 22 and I'm 28 now. My daughter is 6.5. So it was, then I understood friendship is not about age.
Yeah.
It's about our values. It's about the right kind of coming in. And it's not about numbers. It's not about showing off that I have 10 friends. And I clearly understood the difference between friends and acquaintances. You will have like 10 other acquaintances in your life, but there's just 1 or 2 people you can actually fall back. As simple as the conversation we were having, like I think 2-3 years ago I was falling into an extreme depression phase. The one friend who was constantly checking about me, no matter how many calls I missed, I would literally not call her back, and she was the only person who used to not give up. She used to just from Anna Nagar all the way, she's come to Palavakam, she'll be like, is everything okay? I was like, that made me feel guilty, and in that way I changed a lot as a person, saying I need to give back to the people who give me something. I cannot just, because of my past experience, I can't just be like, okay, friendship is not something for me. I can't always have a wall and just always be protecting myself. I need to also let people into my life and be there for the other person. So I think that way as a person I evolved a lot. And today, just like her, I have another friend who was my neighbor before. So anything with my daughter, if my parents are not available, my sister is not available, I immediately call her up and I'll be like, can I just drop Amul at home? There's no hesitation, and she's been there for me. So I think I understood the beauty of life with a lot of people like them. That you can always change. Good people are there. You will attract the right kind of people when you are clear with what you want in life. So I mean, I just love them.
I think that's beautiful. So, and that's something we all have, irrespective of who we are, what we do.
Absolutely.
It's just it's like a limb of our body right
Yeah.
now. It also exists.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, it exists. How do you deal with your mom guilt? Do you have mom guilt?
Oh, I have to. As much as I don't show it out, I battle it within, especially with my first son. I think the firstborns are very, very
Clingy.
I won't say clingy, but emotionally so wedded to you. My first son is like that. If I'm out the whole day, I mean, there are wonderful days. I did some moderation. I came back, he'd seen my video. He said, oh, can I become like you? And it was like, what I'm doing is so worth it. Another day, I was out the whole day. I come back, you're never there for me. You don't spend any time with me. And then there's another day, you've had too many children. All these things. I go through those phases. But then I also tell myself, okay, I mean, what else do? You have only so much time in hand. You are doing your best while you're there. That's how I reel out of it. It takes me time. But when there are some slightly more serious things, like when I have to be there for them to study. For my first son, I think he's at a point where he needs to, do a lot of reading and writing and all that. Some days I feel terribly guilty because I'm not around to do that work. I'm not around to teach him in a very methodical way, organized way. I don't. When I come back home, there are 3 children needing my attention.
Yeah.
Right? And between the 3, I feel like I don't do justice to any of them. Like,
How
for
do you
instance,
deal with it? Because that's something even I go through, and I don't know. I have 2 children.
without any, people may laugh at this answer, but my daughter thinks my mother-in-law is a mother. She doesn't think I'm the mother. See, she loves my mother-in-law, and she's with her 90% of the day. And when she sees me and my husband, sometimes she cries because she feels very alien around us. I mean, she knows I'm. I mean, she knows I'm somebody a part of the house, but because there is no time.
Yeah.
And my second son is floating. He's very independent in his own way. He's in his dreamland. So, it kind of passes off for me. But my first one loves having me around. And I feel like, okay, I need to invest that energy. With the
He's
first
the
child,
one
it's
who
always...
needs you the most.
Yeah, because you've given that time.
Yeah.
Time, yeah.
When they are young, you've given them that time. And suddenly to get out of that zone and say, I don't want to give you any time, makes you so damn guilty.
Yeah.
So damn guilty. And correctly, when I sit down to study or do something, the other two will come. Can I also do that? Can I take this away from him? Can I also do this? And he gets very irritable.
Yeah.
So that's like a balance I have to keep having. Some days I get very annoyed. Some days I'm like, okay, there's no choice.
This too shall pass. We just
Exactly. I hope so, but my first one takes it in so much. He's like, all the time you're giving everything away to them. So again, I feel so. It's like a cycle. It never ends.
It never ends.
Never ends.
I think you just accept
Go with
it.
the flow.
Yeah, and go with the flow. Yeah.
But it's sort of like, it's just very
And the
hard
amount of
to deal
awareness
with.
we all have, right? This can mess them up in the future because most of us are messy. I called my sister one day. She's the first child of the house. Called her. Did you feel left out? When we were together. When she said all the time, Gayu. She said all that. I was shocked with her. Kachu. I called her and asked. She's like all the time. And I felt miserable. That day only I realized, my first son could also be like that. Maybe he is feeling left out. Then, you bugger yourself more. And you don't know how to act because there's so much awareness and very little information on what you can do about it. I think what they are doing with Aita is amazing. I've gone to her so many times saying, how do I do this?
That's true.
But then maybe there is some ways we can address it, but maybe it is the part and parcel of how things will be, how they will grow up to an extent.
Of course.
I mean, of course, we're aware, so we can do
course.
something about it.
I think the one thing we do, or I try, I'm the oldest daughter in the house, I try to consciously do with my daughter is not put the pressure of being the oldest daughter
Oldest
or
child.
being responsible for anything at all. I keep telling her, you're the child, it's okay, you can do what that's the little that I've drawn from my life that I try to do for her. How do you handle mom guilt? Somewhere I feel as a single parent, even mom guilt is slightly on the higher side for a single parent because you don't have that backup in the form of a partner to sort of handhold the whole thing. How do you handle it?
I don't think I've handled it. I think I'm just like realizing this is how it is going to be, right? And very recently, I had a conversation. So my family is very supportive. My sisters are always hands-on. And with a lot of conversations that you were talking, I'm the firstborn in my family as well. So I resonate with a lot of things that you guys said. But my siblings are hands-on. My parents are very supportive. But last week, I had a very interesting conversation with my daughter. And she comes home. She visited her father. She comes home and I was like, how was your day? How did you have fun? She was like, yeah. And she was upset. I said, why you're upset? You want to talk to me about something? She asked me, why aren't you and father together? I was like, we have our differences and you know about it, that we're not together. Did something come up? Why would you want to ask this question now? And she comes and tells me that I like you, I love you, and I also love my father equally. I get to see you every single day, but I don't get to see him every single day. I don't know what to say. I mean, from her perspective, it's not wrong. I can't tell her, I can't force what my experience was to change her perspective of her father,
Correct.
right? That day I didn't know what to answer. I was like, I understand, but you know that things have not been... I just told her, you grow up, I'll tell you. I told her, you're too young to understand because I didn't have an answer. And that very same day, I actually saw a movie recently that got released called Kadalika Neramile. In that, there was a very beautiful scene where the child is a test tube baby. And he comes home and he's like, at school, everyone's asking about test tube baby, what is it? And the mother says, test tube babies are superheroes. And then he'll be like, oh, but superheroes needs to have superpower. What kind of superpower do I have? Ideally, in an Indian cinema, there'll be some nice philosophical answer a mother gives. So I was curious to know, okay, what is she going to say? Maybe I'll try to implement that with them. And she was like, shut up and go sleep. that is how it is. You don't have answers to everything.
Exactly.
And with this one question, I'm like, I felt bad that I was not able to give her the ideal family setup. But I also know that I've made the right decision because having two unhappy parents is always better than having happy parents living alone and giving that time for her. For a moment, I was like, I'm doing so much for you, and is this the statement I want to hear? But then somewhere I felt like, okay, let me not throw my ideologies to her. Let me just let her speak. She went on and on. She was like, I like to drive the car, but would you let me drive a car? I said, no. Do you think Dada would let me drive the car? I said, obviously not. See, he loves me equally. He's not going to hurt me. What kind of response would I give, right?
Correct. Sometimes you can't beat a 6-year-old's logic.
You cannot. I mean, it was very logical. She was not throwing tantrums. She was not using any, harsh words. In her head, this is very logical. And from her perspective, I feel it's not wrong.
It is not.
I do also have statements from my side to justify everything. But then I felt like, okay, this is not my moment. It's for her to just express what she feels. And I realized as a mother, I need to be ready to take a lot of things like this and not throw my pain at her saying, I've gone through this, I've done so much for you, you need to accept me more than your father. I can't do that. So
That's amazing clarity.
I know for a 6.
It takes a lot of restraint, I tell you, Pooja, to be able to. You say this very gracefully, but it takes a lot of restraint to not be bitter in the moment, because those are very triggering moments for us, right? So being very restrained there and not saying anything back that could impact the child, it takes a lot from you as well. So kudos to you on that. That's a great thing what you did there. It's very hard. I can relate, and it's incredibly hard. And honestly, after speaking to a lot of people, right, it is so much better to raise a child in a happy home with a happy parent, another happy parent elsewhere, than putting two very unhappy individuals together and forcing the child to be in that setup. Very honestly.
Yeah. So we spoke about mom guilt. So what is that one thing? Even if it's stupid, it's okay. What is that one thing you've done that you feel guilty about till date?
And you
with your
can't
children?
let go of.
Yeah. I have
Like that
one.
one thing.
With a
She
child?
has one with the child that you've forgotten or didn't
I can
do
give
well.
you mine. Like about a year ago, I missed putting my daughter's water bottle in her bag, and she has a water cooler right outside her classroom, so she can take water and drink it. But she has never let go of it. Neither have I for the last year and a half.
Oh my god. I have many. I think one of the most embarrassing ones was so I keep getting emails from school, right? They don't mention if it is for the younger one or the older one. So they keep sending emails like this, and on one of the emails it said, please dress your child up for Diwali or something like that.
This happened to me.
I'm not kidding. I sent my first son in Diwali clothes. I thought it was for both of them. I mean, you think that school would do it for everybody, right? Yeah. So I wanted to dress up the second one. He refused. He doesn't like these colors. He likes uniform. He likes to go with. So I put him in uniform. I said. So when I went for pickup, my second one comes out and all his friends are in color uniform. I mean, color clothes. My first one comes out. Only child wearing like a proper not any full like jazzy kurta pajama. Okay, then that teacher looks at me so puzzled. She was like, I said, ma'am, I got an email saying that they have to dress up. Are they not dressed? I said, oh ma'am, I was wondering why you was in color clothes today. I didn't realize. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I felt so embarrassed. But my child did not hold me up to that. He was just carefree. I was like, but thank God. Now thinking about if I done that to my daughter, I'm sure I'll be underground buried for sure. That is one of the many things I've embarrassed
I can imagine
myself
how that would have gone with a girl. Yes.
Something very similar happened to me as well. She was supposed to dress up as something, and I didn't know. She had just dropped her in the uniform, and the entire school was like dressed up for that. So after that, I appointed a mother, literally using the word appointed a mother, to directly text me saying, hey, tomorrow they'll send me an email, and the email could remind Pandaduk I have another mom friend. I'm not kidding. Like for any holiday, everything she'd be like, Pooja, tomorrow's a holiday. And there was one of those days where I think after some function in the school, they gave us a break. I think the weekend after that. That morning, for some reason, my daughter decides to throw tantrums. She's never like that. She'll almost like wake up, get ready. And I had to be very angry at her, shout at her, food saapil ni paravale ni vandile edu, literally adikala adu mattum mathabadi avlo argument, going to the school, and the security is like, school illa abinara. She turned at me, she was like, what kind of a mother are you? You tortured me so much. இப்போ அவளுக்கு என்ன ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட்னா, you run a mental health company, but how rude are you? Wait, I'm going to put this on Instagram. I will create an account.
Daughter, now I'm panicking.
I was like, all mistakes happen. I was like, you were so rude to me. If I did the same thing, would you accept me for that? I'm going to put this on Instagram today. I'm going to ask Pratu, my sister, to create an Instagram account. I'm going to put a story about it. I'm like, okay, bro.
Chill, sorry.
Mine, I forgot to pick up my firstborn from school. He was in school in a safe environment. Just
Happened, ma'am. I've done that also.
I forgot to send the car. The same week, I forgot to send the car to pick him up from. Not forgot. The car went late because I had to drop my daughter somewhere else. I don't know. This was when he was in 2nd grade.
Oh.
He's going to 10th grade now. He still holds me to it. When I was in 2nd grade, you left me alone in school. I'm like, you were not alone. It is a school. It's a safe place. It's not like you were on the road. No. So I still get to hear it.
Oh my
But
God.
twice in the same week.
The
That
other
is giving them little extra.
He was in Miss Suma. He was at Miss Suma the other time and school. Both are safe spaces.
Agreed. Very, yeah.
Okay. What is one parenting hack that saved your sanity?
Buffalo skin.
You,
Yeah.
I
Really?
run off on treks. Just drop everything, I book a flight, I go off to North India.
Okay. And yours?
mine would be to just mentally shut everybody out. Restroom breaks, actually, honestly. Run into the restroom, close the door, not be available for 10 minutes. I come back a new person.
Oh, I do that too.
Yeah.
I take my phone with me and I run to the bathroom. Get the time you're in the bathroom. Wait, I'm coming. Wait.
Coming.
Or having a structured routine when they were young helped me. So by 8, lights off. By 7, have dinner. Wake up at a certain time. Go to bed at a certain time. Do the in a routine way. It gave me time for myself.
It really helped me with 1, but 2 and 3 just shattered it for me.
Yeah.
Like completely. Then I realized there's no choice.
Yeah.
I just have to be.
And again,
Go
the
with the
patience battery is very high for me.
Oh,
So the
really?
drain ஆகும்போது I'll just leave. Like previous day I would have spoken to her and next day she calls, I'm like, bro, I'm in Uttarakhand. She's like, hey, என்ன சொல்ற? இன்னைக்கு தான் book பண்ணேன்.
Oh, okay.
So this is the rapid fire round, okay? So we're going to be very quick.
Okay.
And everybody's answering.
If your child wrote a book about you as a parent, what would the title be?
I'm proud of mama.
Ah, nice.
Bro.
Bro. Okay.
That's true, that's it. Bruh is the word of our home right now.
Okay. Mine would
Yes.
be I'm the mother. Because all the time I'm saying I'm the mother. Okay, so the next one.
I mean, you,
Bruh,
Oh, bruh.
same.
She said
Same,
bruh.
same.
Oh, bruh.
It's there.
Okay. One word of advice to new moms.
breathe.
Okay, that's a good one.
What about you?
Love yourself.
Mine is don't spend so much on the little kids. They outgrow everything. They break everything.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
spend less and spend more on yourself. If you want to go get that bag, buy that bag for yourself. Their clothes, just spend the minimum because yes, it's not going to last.
My one, I think I have 2 words. No, 3 words. Just go with the flow.
So if
There was a theme song for parenting, what would it be?
Theme song for parenting. We'll start with you guys, then
Okay.
you can inspire us.
I have 3 songs.
Uh-huh.
My kids taught me the song and I sang it back to them. Baby, calm down, calm down. Apro, my patience is waning. That I use it on them. And this one, I'm the mother. both of them will go like this. I'm like, you guys taught me the song. I'm using it back on you.
Now I know mine. But it's an old Tamil song. Okay? ஒண்ணுமே புரியல உலகத்துல. It has it, you know, என்னவோ நடக்குது மர்மமா இருக்குது. Correct, exactly. I think my parenting style is that. ஒண்ணும் புரியல.
I have 2 songs. One is whether they like it or not. எங்கள் வீட்டில் எல்லா நாளும் கார்த்திகை. That la 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 will be my clueless husband. So that is one, and the other is போனால் போகட்டும் போடா.
நல்லா இருக்கு.
Now you have to
you
come
have
to
enough
yours.
time to
எனக்கு
think.
அந்த head shoulder knees and toes தான் எனக்கு எதுக்கோ மைண்டுக்கு வருது.
வந்துட்டே இருக்கு.
ஒரு இடத்துல முடிக்கிறதுக்குள்ள 10 விஷயம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காது. அவளையும் 10 விஷயம் பண்ண வச்சிருக்காங்க.
That's true. That is very true.
Constantly doing something. ஏதோ போயிட்டே இருக்கும்.
Oh, nice. Different kind of songs have come out.
Yeah, I didn't expect
But
that.
it's an interesting question, you
Yeah.
know. This question
Very
is
nice one.
interesting. Yeah.
So I told my children I'm going to sing this song. They're like, seriously? I'm like, of course I will.
How embarrassing is what they will tell us.
Yeah. Biggest mom fail woman.
Fail, I think, would be a big word.
Yeah.
Fail ஆன மாதிரி எனக்கு I don't think there's been moments. Just trying to, like, I've had moments where I don't have an answer, just like the one I
Yeah.
mentioned. But I fail ஆன மாதிரி I don't think. there's
Well, it
anything.
could be from the aspect that as a mother, you're supposed to know everything, but you actually don't know anything.
I think I've made peace with the fact that I don't know anything. Right?
See,
I think while she was born, நான் நிறைய classes படிக்கிறேன், நிறைய books படிச்சிருக்கேன். I was like this Rachel in Friends when she was having a baby. எல்லாத்துக்கும் படிக்கணும், எல்லாத்துக்கும் டாக்டர் கால் பண்ண, எல்லாத்துக்கும் கூகுள் பண்ணணும். I stopped all of that because I understood that it's going to be my own journey. And I've decided to just be like, you will make mistakes, you learn out of it, and you apologize to your child that you screwed it up. அவ்வளோதான். So அது வந்து I look at it as success. I don't
See
think
it
it's
as
a-
failure. I
yeah,
think
it's
that's
not
the
a
one
failure.
takeaway from this, Celia. There is nothing called winning in motherhood
Yeah.
or losing or failing in motherhood, Celia.
It's a natural
It is a
process.
journey.
It's
It
just,
is-
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
For me, my mom fail moment is because I was a little hard on myself in that regard. I didn't want to be I didn't want to shout at my children or raise my hand. But there were times, it was not even that many times, I can count them அந்த மாதிரி அதுக்கே வந்து I feel terribly guilty that I did that because that is not what I wanted in my head. In my head, I had a way I wanted to bring up my children, and the fact that I failed there, that was
I think
my
gentle parenting பத்தி நம்ம நிறைய I think when we became parents we studied a lot, learned a lot of influences talking about it. But practically there's no one way of parenting that would work out
And
for us
gentle
because-
parenting for I mean, we were never gentle parented. I mean,
Well, we come with our own set of baggages, right?
Exactly.
So we are very clear that we don't want to hit our child because we were hit. We were not given a space to talk
Exactly.
what we want to. So we want to make sure our kids have that.
Yeah.
This is not an influence of gentle parenting. So I think, but that's why parenting is very unique because நம்மளோட baggagesலேருந்து we are trying to unlearn a lot of things while
Exactly.
creating a safe space. We still don't know if this is the right way of doing it. Tomorrow our kids might grow and sit like this and say, my mother did that day.
Yeah.
So I don't want to
Definitely.
do
That
this.
is
but
going
you
to
know,
happen.
to say sorry was game changing for me.
Yeah.
I did learn to apologize. That was a huge learning. So, like you said, maybe if you see as a failure, parenting failure, there are so many things that we hold ourselves up to, right? I think that to be shattered is so important. Our standards cannot be so up high. We have to learn to breathe and be in the present. Being in the present is so important.
I agree.
I do agree to the apologizing bit, which I do quite a bit to both my children on those rare
No, it's
days
changed
when
for me.
I
It's really
scream
changed.
or
From
shout.
one day, I yelled at my son for something. I was stressed about something else. I yelled at him like nobody's business. But then I realized I was feeling so bad on the inside. I went up. I started crying. He walked in after some time. He looked at me. He said, "Why are you crying?" I said, "No, I feel so bad that every time I'm angry with you or with somebody else, I'm only screaming at you, and that's why I'm crying." He said, "Don't worry, Gayu. I'm fine. Don't cry."
Aw.
And every time he sees me crying, he's like, "Is it because you're feeling bad that you yelled at me?" I'm like, "Yeah, but also something." So don't attribute everything to
But they're also so beautifully forgiving. I think we need to learn their grace. Just, whenever I apologize to my child for something I've yelled at her for or anything, right? They're so graceful when they accept the apology and also forgive us after.
because
they
they
don't hold on
always
to
come
it.
with a blank slate.
Yeah,
Exactly.
how beautiful is that?
And then that makes you stop and think about
Yeah.
A
how
lot,
you
yeah.
could do this for other relationship and how you've not done it.
Yeah,
I think kids are the best life coaches. to anyone.
Absolutely. I think they come
The
in
outlook
perfect.
on life, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They come in perfect, exactly.
Yeah.
We just need to let them be.
That's
exactly.
true.
So that takes us right into the next question. They say along with a child, a mother is born. So can you talk about your journey to parenthood and what you faced and where you're now in the journey? I mean, we have spoken about it a lot,
Of course.
but
I think for me, the cliche didn't happen. When you see the baby, you are, oh my God, my heart is there. No, I didn't have it. I could not look at my son because it was a boy. I didn't know how to look at a child at first, to be very, brutally honest about it. It took me about 2 days to get there. But then he is the most effortless child I have ever seen or handled so far because he's very chilled out, don't care, I'm okay, don't worry about me, very responsible in certain sense. But as a parent, from there to having the second one who's extremely different, very sensitive, very cordial, very British in all sense, I would say. Very, he likes to, keep things like that. You know my second one. So he likes to have his things certain way. To my daughter, who's like a rage, I would say. She has her own. I mean, if I must quote my father-in-law, somebody who's a very strong-willed person. He has, he has a very strong voice. He is the man of the family. Beautiful. But my daughter has broken him down to pieces that he has not realized he had in him. Like he would volunteer to walk her somewhere, drive her somewhere, take care of her, put her to sleep, which was so I think as a parent I have learned so much about my family, so much about my friends, so much about myself. And I think that journey is so beautiful. But today I'm so proud that they have made me so resilient, because on those really tough days, they were the ones who pulled me out. So I will give all credit to that. I feel like my heart is in 3 parts out there.
Beautiful. Just this morning,
Yes.
when we had our other guests, we were talking about something, and they were like, you should cherish all these moments, because when they turn 21 and walk out of the door, it's like one part of your heart just
Is
walks
walked
away.
out, yeah.
And when they come back, it plugs right back in, and then they walk out again. And what's the one thing, Pooja, that you feel people around you, right? Not your family, but just people around you, understood about being a single parent?
I've had people who have been disrespectful of being a single parent from the very same school, who have made comments like, it's a girl child, did you try enough?
Oh.
Did you give up? I'm not even kidding. These were like very same parents that we were interacting with. And when we go out for play dates and all of that, they stopped calling me for outings where couples were just hanging out. Right? Today I'm saying this out in a very confident tone, but when I heard all of that, it broke me. And I was scared. I was, 25 years when all of this was happening. So I myself was a baby, not knowing what it was. I didn't have this confidence.
This brings to light that commenting about somebody else's style of parenting, whether they're single or whether they're with somebody else, the type of family they come from, all of that is also at some point unnecessary. I think it should also be.
Nobody gives another person the benefit of the doubt.
That's true.
Because they just want to jump to conclusions about somebody they don't know anything about.
That's true.
Or they're not willing to learn about them at all. See, everybody comes from a different background, right? And how much of weight do you give to that to be talking about them so openly or, within closed doors?
And honestly, no one has the time to actually care about you so much. These are just like random statements they make and go. The more and more we internalize it, we break. And even if you're going to go tell that person whatever you said has broken me, they hardly remember most of the time. So they're like, oh, I didn't mean this, I didn't mean that. I think we need to just like stop giving
So much weight
trying
to
to change
anything.
another person is going to take a lot of time. For
Like
us.
what
It's
she
just
said, to
easier.
drown out those voices.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So I think this brings us pretty close to the end of our conversation. But how do you balance being the fun parent and the disciplinarian? Is there one side you tend towards to more?
Can I be very honest?
Yes.
I'm like onion. There is one day I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, It's inconsistent. I go with the flow. Today, if I decide I want to be the fun parent, taking them out or doing some crazy things at home, I'm doing that. One day, if I feel they need to sit down to do some work, they need to be a little bit more productive in the typical sense, I do that. But it's just constantly changing. One day is like this, one day is
So
like
when you are the fun parent, does your husband become the one that disciplines?
No. My husband is always the parent that doesn't yell, that doesn't scold, is always saying yes to everything, and the very
The
calm
Zen parent.
The Zen
Yeah.
parent.
Yes.
Yeah, she knows. He's a very Zen parent. For me, it's not. It keeps fluctuating,
It's
up and down, up and down.
Yes.
But in your case, it has to be, you have to
What
do the
has to be
balancing
both,
act, right?
No, but how do you balance
That-
between
yeah.
being a fun parent one day, like she said, it is onion mode for most of us, no? Even to me, it's new. How do you balance it, being fun and disciplinarian?
There's no balance. I mean, it's just whatever happens, you react to it. But I think one advantage is, as a person, I'm not too loud or anything, and I have the patience to sit and talk to her. And now she's tuned in a way where whatever you want to get done with her, and if you want to change something about her, if you sit and talk to her, she will listen. But if my mom's going to come and be like, don't do this, she'll be like, who are you to tell me? oh, why are you telling me this? And she literally tell me things like, Amma is very rude. She's not kind like you. You also discipline me, but you're kind. She's not kind. And my mom's like, Appa, Amma, please go, get out of the room. I don't have the patience to do this. Then balance is not there. Sometimes it's very difficult because it's emotionally draining again.
Yeah.
You finish work, you come back home, you hear 10 things that she did. She might be rude to a nanny. She might have not had food properly. She might have had junk. I think my sisters also play a huge role in this. Like, they have sat her down in a lot of spaces because there was a time where my mom was very particular about putting Amul in certain classes, and I was like, I want her to enjoy her playtime. She loves playing, she loves doing art. It's not about always putting her in like 10 classes and for what joy, because she's done that to us and we're not great at anything at all. So like, let her play, let her just like enjoy her own time. My sister, I couldn't have that conversation beyond a point, and I'm like, okay, do whatever you want. I'm just not going to talk about it. My sister sat her down and they were like, Amulya is Pooja's daughter. We are just here to help them out. The more and more you put your voice, tomorrow Amulya is going to be confused in terms of who she has to listen, because it's like two different ideologies we're trying to give her. It's anyways going to be difficult for her to understand with everything that's happening. You shouldn't be doing this. And then she's open to understanding that perspective of it, and then she takes it in. And my siblings are like, what, all 26 and 23 years old.
Amazing clarity
Yeah,
for that
lovely.
age.
I think all of us have grown in this journey. All of us were very stuck at one point, but then collectively we understood that there's no other option. We need to anyways move forward. We might as well do it properly.
Phenomenal.
Everyone, we used to have like lot of conversations on. I think Amul is the holding factor.
Yeah.
I think that's
Okay.
the beauty of having
Yeah.
a child
Child,
at home.
Exactly. Yeah. Very
you
much.
just grow, learn along with them. It's
Your
beautiful.
father-in-law with Aditi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've learned they've learned so much about themselves that they've never touched upon.
Yeah, emotions that you've probably locked up inside.
Yeah.
These little tiny hands
Yeah.
can come and open out
Same
in a
with my
second.
dad as
too.
well, right? He's always been busy with our childhood, right? He's never come to any of our school events, college events, nothing at all. Today he's making time for Amul. Every day morning they spend like half an hour walking around talking. And normally when we talk, he's always on phone. He's always busy. If a call vandalu, he'll put the phone aside, talk to her. All that is like huge for me.
Hello, where were you when I was the
craving
child?
for these
Real
actions.
is
I
a
used to sit
grandparent
up
now.
there, "Amma."
He's not a parent.
So it's beautiful, like you said, having a child at home. It changes everyone. I think it's not about us mothering them. They actually,
Yeah, they've
bring
become
a
the
difference
parent actually.
Yeah.
without even knowing.
They are the ones schooling us in every way and very
Oh, they hold you
gracefully and
accountable.
beautifully.
If I say something to my daughter and I do the same thing, she's the first one to ask me.
You said this.
Yeah, you said this.
I think it's a blessing to have a child. Like no matter what, innadhaan namakku chaotica irukku kashtam adella sonnalum,
It's
if
an
we didn't have a
absolute
child, I don't think any of us would have had this experience or this transformation in our life.
Yeah, we wouldn't have
easily
grown as a person.
We would have easily given up at some point, but now we have no option of giving up. We
Yeah.
need to figure a way out. We need to move forward. So I think
Correct.
that's beautiful in a way. having
Absolutely.
kids.
They make you so aware emotionally that you know where at what place we are emotionally
Yeah.
and how
There's
to
nowhere
break
to
that.
hide.
Yeah.
They open you up.
And
So,
you-
this has been great, very insightful, very fun. Thank you so very much. Before we go, a question for both of you and even you, Kavita. What would the Gayatri now and the Pooja now and the Kavita now tell yourself on your darkest days as a new mom? If you could go back in time and tell yourself one thing, what is that one thing you tell yourself? So if there's any mother who's watching this, who's going through that emotion that we have all gone through, right? If that's going to help them even just a tiny bit, then this was all worth it. What would you tell
Like a
yourself?
pre-mom.
No,
self, is it?
not a pre-mom. When you were a mom, on your darkest days as a new mom, what would you tell yourself?
I would maybe say this too shall pass and you're going to be fine. Because most of the when you're in the darkest place, you just feel like there is no light in the end.
Yeah.
You're just like stuck. You have no answers. You can't talk about it all the time. Most of the times, you don't even know what you're looking for. At least I was there in that place.
Yeah.
What was I wanting? I didn't know. So maybe I would just go tell that Pooja that you're going to be fine. It's going to be okay.
I think that's something that a lot of us need to hear more often,
Yeah.
right? It's fine, it's going to be okay.
I would say the same thing. This too shall pass.
How
Not with
about you?
respect to a mom, but with everything.
With
yeah.
everything.
No, it will. And for me, I think as much as we want to say that be there for yourself, all that is there. But, in those moments, grab anything that's positive. any little thing that's positive around you, just grab it. Don't feel bad about it, because you need to give a voice to your gut. At that point, when you do it, things will just change. When you start looking at positive things, whatever be, it could be your child smiling at you, it could be, your husband saying, why don't you come down to eat dinner. If that gives a streak of positivity, just grab it, because only when you start looking at things positively, right, which is very difficult at that point, but just keep looking for positivity around you. For me, that worked.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I think this was a very, very useful conversation. And we had a great amount of learning that we did as well. So thank you very much, Pooja. Thank you, Gayatri.